Oh, another one. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Dude, that was insane. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to talk about 3 of the most popular chatterbaits and why I think this one is the hottest one on the market right now. So guys, before we talk about these chatterbaits, I'm going to throw up a couple clips from the other day, my last trip. I went out on a river system fishing a bunch of current oriented type areas where channel swings ran tight to the bank along these grass beds, weed beds, stumps, lay down, stuff of that nature, rocks, riprap. That's kind of the stuff I was targeting, and targeting mainly largemouth. Now I was catching them all on this chatterbait. We'll get into it here in a second, but I'm gonna throw in these fish catches to really set you up to talk about this chatterbait. But anyways, I started out fishing more closer to the main lake area, running the grass beds, and I was having a little bit of luck catching some fish here and there, but I kind of went through a dead time, so I cranked up, ran up to the river, got on this deep bank where the contour line swung close to the bank along these weed beds and stuff. And these fish were just chasing shad along the grass edges and stuff, and they were loving this chatterbait. So, you know, I caught a bunch, just covering a bunch of water. I even had 3 hooked in less than 5 seconds. I hooked this one, lost it right at the boat. Chatterbait dropped back in, wasn't paying attention right there at the boat. Another one took it. He lost, and as soon as that fish spit it out, I had this one that I ended up catching, getting in the boat. He was just a little guy. The other ones were closer to 3 pounds. Not giants, but still, it just goes to show you how much they wanted this chatterbait. So enough of the suspense. This is the Z-Man Mini Max Chatterbait. This is a real sneaky type, subtle chatterbait compared to, you know, like the Jackhammer and the Thunder Cricket. And we'll get into those here in a second, but I really wanted to highlight this chatterbait. This one has become my all-time favorite. It catches the pressured fish, it catches the active fish, grass, you know, running along rocks, whatever the case may be. This little guy has really impressed me and caught me a lot of fish. And so what's different about this chatterbait is how small that blade is. And then also another note is how small that hook is. That is a 2-aught hook compared to, I think, most of the other ones on the other chatterbaits are 4-aught. So you got that smaller hook. You're going to want to have a smaller trailer. Right now I've got a Menace grub in pearl white put on it. I normally run the X-Zone Adrenaline Crawl, but I actually used up all of those, so I had to use this. This is my only other split tail trailer that I had. If you're wanting to keep the bait up, run it through grass and vegetation and stuff, that's where the split tail is going to come in handy. And if I want to fish it along rocks and slow roll it across the bottom, I'm going to pair it up with a swim bait. That way it keeps the bait down, and, you know, when you're doing a steady retrieve, that swim bait's going to be better. You know, that's really what the paddle tail is designed for. But with a split tail, you can be a little more erratic, have a little more action on the rod tip, ripping it through the grass and stuff. But with the swim bait, you're really going to want to do more of a steady retrieve. But yeah, dude, this Mini Max, this is a 1/2 ounce. And they say it's actually sized a little bit heavier and runs more like a 5/8, which I find is wild, but it seems like it's true because, you know, it's such a small profile bait. You think it would run more like a smaller size chatterbait, but it runs pretty true to the 1/2 ounce, if not a little bit bigger. You know, so like I said, this Mini Max chatterbait has been very versatile. It's impressed me a lot. I've caught a bunch of fish fishing it in grass, fishing around rocks and stumps, you know, and it deflects good off of cover. It doesn't seem like it hunts as much as the Jackhammer and stuff, but, you know, when you've got this small blade and small profile, you know, it's created to be a little more sneaky. And, you know, I think it's really going to catch a bunch more pressured fish than you normally would on the Jackhammer or the Thunder Cricket or other chatterbaits. You know, it's the same concept as, you know, like throwing a Ned rig. You know, if you downsize throwing that more subtle presentation, you're going to catch a ton of fish. I think this is kind of going to be like the Ned rig of chatterbaits. So there's that chatterbait. That's going to be, you know, the most versatile in my opinion. And, you know, I chose that as my number 1. And then number 2, you know, dude, when they came out with this chatterbait, I think it's probably 2018 or 2019. It was like the bread and butter of chatterbaits. This thing was catching so many fish, and it still does. But that's the Jackhammer. And this thing thumps super loud. And, you know, when it first came out, it was catching a ton of fish. Seems like it's since died off a little bit. These fish have gotten more used to that hard knocking sound and that erratic action because it hunts like crazy. That's not me saying it still don't catch fish, because it does. For me, at least, the numbers aren't there. I still catch a bunch of big fish on it though. So naturally, you know, I've found the best times to throw this are when the water's real muddy, or, you know, you're in cold weather and you're dealing with a warming trend that's really going to set these fish off and make them active. You know, if they're real aggressive and you're on a chatterbait bite, this is going to be the first one I pick up. That's a jackhammer. It really targets those big fish, active and feeding fish. And so yeah, like I stay on Guntersville a lot, so I fish a chatterbait a bunch. And if I feel like they're going to be active on one of those warming trends, like I said, you know, I'm going to be reaching for the jackhammer. You know, this is the red one, and I normally keep this one paired with the X-Zone 4-inch swammer. That's just like the perfect combination, perfect matchup of colors. So, you know, rigging it with the paddle tail is going to be like the same application as I talked about with the Mini Max. You know, it's going to be more your standard retrieve, but with the jackhammer, you're not going to have so much of a standard retrieve because, you know, even when you're just slow rolling it, this thing is going to be super erratic and, you know, bouncing back and forth in the water. As towards your Mini Max, it's going to be more of your standard straight retrieve. So yeah, that's this. Super loud, bread and butter. You know, it was a standard of expensive chatterbaits. You know, it was really the first one to break away from that, you know, the standard chatterbaits. And so now that comes to our third and final one. This is the one that I'm going to pick up the least bit. You know, it seems like they might have created this one to be a little more subtle than the jackhammer, but it's close to the same design. It's got a different blade on it. You see, I'll compare it to the jackhammer. But, you know, they're the same size, got the same size hook, but this one does not hunt as much as the jackhammer. And what I mean by hunt is, you know, that erratic side-to-side movement, you know, deflecting off stuff. You know, so that's, you know, this is a popular one. It's one that I really haven't thrown much, one that I haven't had a ton of luck on. You know, before I found out about the Mini Max, it was either the jackhammer or the, you know, just the original chatterbait, like the $4.99 Z-Man one. And that one's still good. I mean, all chatterbaits can catch them. But, you know, I really think that these three right here are the best on the market right now. And so with that being said, we're going to wrap it up. I'm going to talk about my gear, my setup, what I like to throw most of my chatterbaits on. This is a Duckett Ghost, 7'3" medium heavy. It's got a good bit of strength, but it's not like a broomstick, you know. It's got a really soft tip, and so you can really feel that chatterbait working side to side. You can feel it deflecting off of stuff, and most importantly, you know, when you're ripping it through grass, sometimes it's hard to indicate if it's a bite, if they like barely eat it or something. You can really feel them eat it. So this is a good setup. This is a Duckett Paradigm reel. That is a 6:8 to 1 gear ratio. I really like it's kind of more like your medium gear range, a 6:8 to 1. It's not too slow, not too fast. You have a lot of range. You can burn it, or you can slow it down in those cooler water temps when the fish are being a little bit lazier and stuff, not wanting to chase as much. And so that 6:8 to 1 gear ratio is really good. And then I like the 12-pound fluorocarbon. This is trilene 100%. Throwing the lighter line really allows you to get down deeper. And so if you're fishing like some thick grass beds that, you know, the grass is just right below the surface, then you're probably going to want to bump it up to like a 15 or 17 to get that chatterbait to run a little bit higher. Because, you know, a lot of times you just want that chatterbait to tick across the tops of the grass and not really bury up into it. So if you're wanting to get it to run a little bit higher, you know, of course, bump it up to a lighter chatterbait and go to a heavier line, because your heavier line is going to help your bait to stay higher up in the water column. Lighter line's going to let it sink a little bit more and run deeper. So guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think. What chatterbait's your favorite? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Let me know what you want to see on the channel. I'm trying to be creative, pump out a bunch of content that's going to be beneficial to you, help you to learn, help you to catch more fish, because, you know, that's what it's all about. I want to see the people succeed around me, catch fish. And so, you know, that's kind of my target on this channel. So if you liked it, please leave a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any more content like this. And with that being said, we'll see you in the next one.